You're in a back room in Brooklyn, 2 a.m. The air is so thick with cigar smoke you can taste it on your tongue. Across the table sits a man who's killed before. Not because he's crazy, because it was Tuesday. He slides a photograph toward you. You look down. It's your mother, leaving her apartment, carrying groceries. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't pull a gun. He just taps the photo with his finger, smiles, and says, "Nice lady. We should visit her sometime." Your heart stops. But your face? Your face has to keep smiling. You have to look him in the eye, nod like it's no big deal, and ask the bartender for another round. Because if you flinch, if you show even 1 second of fear, he'll know. And if he knows, you don't go home. This isn't a movie. This is what it's like to be an undercover cop inside the mob. Here's something most people don't get. Undercover work isn't acting. Acting is when you play a character for 2 hours, then take off the costume and go back to your life. This is different. When you go deep undercover, you don't play a criminal, you become one. The FBI calls it the legend. It's the fake life they build for you. Your new name, your new history, your new everything. And here's the thing about a legend. Every single detail has to be perfect. Where you grew up, which high school you dropped out of, the first time you got arrested, who you knew in prison, why you're angry at the world. It's a house of cards. One wrong detail, one story that doesn't match what you said 3 months ago, collapse. And when the house collapses on you, it doesn't just mean you fail the mission, it means you disappear. So you memorize every detail until it's not memorization anymore, until the fake story feels more real than your real one, until you almost forget which one is true. So how do you actually get inside? Movies make it look easy. Some crime boss walks up and says, "I like your style, kid. You're with me now." Yeah, number. Real life is slower, boring even. It's a dance that takes months. It starts in places where criminals hang out, social clubs, dive bars, pool halls. You're just another guy, drinking alone, keeping to yourself. But you're always watching, and they're always watching you. First contact is never direct. It's a nod from across the room, a random comment about the game on TV, an offer to buy you a beer. Then comes the networking. You meet a guy who knows a guy. He introduces you to another guy. Each introduction is a test. They ask about your past. You give them your legend. They ask about mutual acquaintances. You pretend to know people you've never met. And then comes the most important part, the flakes. Flakes are small crimes, petty stuff, selling stolen cigarettes, fencing a hot TV, running a small gambling ring. Why? Because trust isn't built on words. Trust is built on shared guilt. If you sell stolen goods with someone, you're both breaking the law. You both have something to lose. You're connected now. You don't start with a murder. You start with a TV. Then maybe some stolen credit cards. Then a truckload of cigarettes. Each crime is a brick in the wall of trust. By the time they ask you to do something big, you've already proven yourself. You're not a cop. You're a criminal. You've got the receipts to prove it. Here's where it gets weird. Inside your head. They call it the John Wayne effect. When you play a tough guy so long, you start to feel like a tough guy. You're threatening people, breaking legs, or pretending to, talking about violence like it's nothing. And part of you, a part you don't like to admit exists, starts to enjoy it. The power, the fear in their eyes, the respect. You catch yourself laughing at jokes that would have made you sick 5 months ago. And then you have to switch it off. Because at 3 a.m., you're in a hotel room with your handler. And you have to remember every name, every lie, every promise you made. Wait, did I tell Vinny I grew up in Queens or the Bronx? What did I say my mother's name was? Did I mention doing time in 2008 or 2009? Your handler takes notes, hours of notes. Because if you get it wrong next week, you're dead. This is the part they don't show in movies, the loneliness. You can't call your real friends. You can't see your family. You can't even think about your real life when you're in character, because the bad guys can read faces like you read street signs. So you live in the gray area, half cop, half criminal, both, neither. And you start to wonder, when this is over, which one am I really?
All right,
You're in. You're trusted. Now what? Now you need the evidence. And the mob is like an onion. The guys you hang out with every day, they're the outer layers. Street guys. They break legs, run numbers, sell the stolen goods. But they don't know anything. They never meet the boss. They never hear the real plans. To get to the core, the guys who give the orders, you need to make the layers peel themselves. Enter the wire. Consensual monitoring, they call it. You wear a recorder taped to your chest, under your shirt. Every conversation gets recorded. Every joke, every threat, every order. But here's the trick. You can't just record anything. You need to steer the conversation. Gently. Like a fisherman with a really, really dangerous fish. Hey, remember that thing we did last week? The thing the boss wanted? How'd that work out for him? If you're too obvious, they get suspicious. If you're too subtle, you get nothing. And while you're doing that, you're also working the hierarchy. You find the weak links, the guys who got passed over for promotion, the ones who are scared of going back to prison. You flip them. Give them a choice. Help us or go down with the ship. Most of them choose to help. Now you've got multiple layers talking, multiple wires recording, multiple angles on the same crime. This is how you get the boss. Not with one big score, with 1,000 little threads woven together until they're strong enough to pull down a whole family. The arrests happen, it's on the news, the bad guys go to prison, the case is closed, everyone celebrates. Except you, because you can't celebrate. You can't tell anyone what you did. Your old friends? They think you disappeared for 3 years. They don't know where you went. You can't tell them. Your family? They were worried sick. You can tell them you were working, but not what you were working on. Not really. And the paranoia? That doesn't go away. You look over your shoulder for the rest of your life. Every car that slows down, every stranger who looks at you too long. Because the mob has a long memory, and even the guys in prison have friends on the outside. This is the part nobody talks about. The undercover cops who win, who bring down the bad guys, who do everything right, they don't get medals they can show their grandkids. They get a new name, a new city, a new life. They become ghosts. We watch movies about mobsters because we're fascinated by power, the money, the respect, the danger. But the real heroes aren't the ones breaking the rules. They're the ones who pretend to break them, who spend years in the dark, risking their souls, their families, their very identities, just to put the bad guys away. They are the ghosts who walk among us, protecting us, and we never even know their names.